Hi, my name is Hannah. Welcome back to my channel Savage Reads, and today I am going to be doing a bit of a different video. So if you have been following my channel for a while, you will know that I don't do a lot of tag videos, mostly because I only want to do ones if I feel like I have something to add to the topic. And Sue Jackson tagged me in a challenge video, and the challenge was started by Marlicia's Meanderings, and it was Hobbies on Your Bookshelf Challenge. And this is right up my alley. I have lots of fun little hobbies, and I do have a few books about them. I don't have a ton. I don't go out and buy a lot of books. I'm a library girl at heart, but I do have some fun hobby books that I do want to talk about. So I figured I would show you some lovely books and talk a little bit about some of my hobbies. So thank you, Sue, for tagging me in this, and let's get started on what books I've got. So let's start out with some of the books that I have that go with a few of my hobbies. Here's a hobby that I got really into in theory. I had this full idea that I was going to make intricate mosaics, and I was going to basically mosaic a wall in my house. I had this whole idea right after we bought this current house, and then it kind of faded because I decided instead to make a very large stitchery to go on that wall and did embroidery instead. But during that time period, I did a lot of research, I had Pinterest boards, and I also got this book about mosaics and the technique and how you go about doing them. And it was very interesting. I still want to learn how to make mosaics. It just hasn't happened yet. But it gives you all the tools. It gives you all of the intricate things you can do. These kinds of mosaics are very much what I would see at Empurias Bravas. It's up Costa Brava. There's a place with all these Greek and Roman ruins, and you can see some of the original mosaics. And this book is really showing things in kind of that style and the techniques that go into it. And they're just, I mean, these are gorgeous. So maybe someday this will be one of my big hobbies, but at this point I have only gotten into it in theory. Now for a hobby that I was very into from about the time I was 12 until the time I was maybe 25, and I have cooled it on it for a while, although I still partake. It is clothing construction and sewing and pattern making. I studied this at university. I love constructing clothes, making things from scratch. The reason I haven't been into it as much is that I've needed hobbies that are more portable with my kids. I need to be able to pick up a knitting project, pick up a stitching project, and take it with me. And getting out the sewing machine, getting all the materials out means that I don't do as much sewing as I used to, but I used to love it. I drafted the pattern for my wedding dress and made it all from scratch, and I loved that kind of thing. It's not to say that I don't still love this and don't occasionally get out the sewing machine and make things. I have within the past few months made some things on the sewing machine, but it is not my day-to-day hobby. But I have some really beautiful books from this. So this one is all about draping, and it's called Drape Drape. It has some really great how-to diagrams and patterns, but these just beautiful pictures of different ways to really drape knitted fabrics. I just think it's really beautiful. Draping is a technique in which you are making clothing and patterns directly on a mannequin or a dress form, but this is more about the way that fabric drapes. I think it's really beautiful to see some of these really unique kinds of drapes and patterns, and it just straight up tells you the full pattern and the instructions on how to make them. So this book is really fun. I also have these two amazing pattern magic books, and they are so fun for some very interesting constructed type clothing items. So this one with the giant bow, this skirt that has this big hole in it. I don't know how wearable all of it is, but it's really cool. The way that you can make some of these shapes and dents in different clothing, these really orchestrated folds. And Pattern Magic too has some just as cool, very architectural type designs. This is a circle that is folded in certain ways to make it wearable. these accordion pleats, this vanishing necktie. There are just some really interesting ideas, and I find them very inspirational when I am looking for sewing project ideas. So those are the sewing books I have. I did have more sewing books, especially back when I was studying in university, but I no longer have them. They did not make the cut in the move because I don't end up using them often enough. But these three really do stick with me. Now, if you have been following my channel, you know that I do love a good knitting project. And I only have one book that is knitting related, and I have this Vogue knitting book. And it has some really classic kinds of patterns. I mean, look how gorgeous that is. I have not actually used any patterns from this book, mostly because I tend to find patterns that I want to make online, and I will buy them or find free patterns online. But some of this is really beautiful and does give me a lot of inspiration on what kinds of knits I might want to pick up, but they are also a lot more complicated than I think my personal style is. I tend to go for things that are very simple and don't have a lot of the cabling and all that. It's really cool, the techniques, but in my personal wardrobe, that's not what I'm choosing. So these have some really beautiful techniques. Look at that, those cool cables and crisscross, all that kind of stuff. I just don't quite pick it for my own personal style. But this book is really great at showing me some different ideas with some different techniques. I don't know if I would personally wear this sweater, but I can 100% see the artistry that goes into it. So that's my one knitting book. I do not have any books about embroidery, but I do have a friend who says she has a stack of old magazines about embroidery that she's going to give me. So hopefully I can get that soon. The last hobby that I want to talk about is sort of my hobby, but these books are very much my husband's hobby. I love baking. I make cookies multiple times a week. I love that kind of thing, but my husband is just an amazing chef, and he can make things that are very intricate and time-consuming. He likes to understand the theory behind it. So we have some really great cookbooks, so I thought I would share a few of those with you. So starting out, we have some bread books. We have Flour, Water, Salt, and Yeast, talking about artisan bread baking. And when my husband gets into bread baking, my life is so much better. So this is a great book, but the book that he probably uses more for bread baking is Tartine Bread. And do you know how you can tell he's used it the most? Everything's marked in here for easy access to our favorite recipes. And this book has some really great step-by-step instructions. I mean, look at how detailed these pictures are. You know exactly what you should be doing with the dough, what it should look like. And this is just a really, really thorough and good bread book. And so, yes, out of the bread books, this one's probably the best, but the other one's also really good. Another great one, if you don't have it already, is Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat by Samin Nosrat. Not only does my husband love it, but my 9-year-old loves it because it really gives you a lot of the theory behind cooking. So yes, it gives you some really good recipes, but it gives you ideas. You don't have to look through this book and say, oh, well, I don't have all the ingredients, I can't make it. This helps you learn how to elevate your day-to-day cooking. And so it's great. At dinner time, we'll be dinner time, we'll be talking about the food, and our conversations are a little more nuanced about it. Oh, if this just had a little more acid, I think that it would really bring out this flavor, and it's very fun. One of my favorite recipes that I make out of this book is the Persian-ish rice, but there is a variation that has saffron in it. So I make the Persian-ish rice with the saffron, and it is so good. It is a favorite for all the family, and the girls ask for it all the time. So this book is just a really fantastic one if you want to really elevate your cooking and try some new things. Those are the hobby books that I have on my shelves. They do not encompass all the hobbies I have. I love picking up hobbies. I think my hobby is picking up a new hobby and learning something new, especially something that I can use as gifts or something to help other people. I don't really like keeping the stuff for myself. I like to be able to give it away. And so I love good hobbies. If you have any favorite hobbies that I should try next, let me know. I've tried a bunch. I do have one last hobby on my shelves that I'm not going to show you the books, but one of my personal favorite hobbies is family history and looking into my family's past, learning from their stories. And so I do have a selection of books that were written by and about grandparents and great-grandparents, and those are really wonderful. We also have a collection of journals from when I was younger, journals from my husband, and I do keep stacks of photo books that I make every year to keep track of what we have done in our lives. I think it's an important thing to keep your life documented, learn about the people that came before you, the good and the bad, and be able to grow and learn from that. So I do have a lot of that on my shelves. I think that's all the hobbies that I've got on my shelves. If you would like to do this challenge, go right ahead. I would love to see what hobbies you have, what books you have, because as I said, I'm always looking for more hobbies. And if you have any recommendations of books I should look at for my hobbies, let me know. I might not buy them, but I will try to check them out from the library. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.